welcome to It Resolves. I am Kevin.
I'm Will.
And we are here to talk about some Magic. I love our intro.
It is a Monday. I do too.
It's really grown on me.
It gets you like uppity, right?
Yeah.
Like,
I kind of dig it.
Dance to that. I was dancing to that.
Yeah, we both were.
Very poorly.
Oh, well, duh. As is everything on this show.
Another way to dance? Don't come with It Resolves like we're trash. We're pretty.
No, we're pretty awesome. Okay, so we are here with a fantastic show for you guys. We hope it'll be fun. I hope you enjoy it. I think we'll just go ahead and get right into it with the card of the day.
Sure. Yeah.
So what we're gonna do is find a random card. You guys probably will know how this works at some point in the future. We find a random card. We talk about it for a bit, unless it's bad.
Right. Pretty much. I mean,
yeah.
We have before, but we're going to try to not do that.
We're going to try not to waste so much time on that.
Okay.
All right, 3, 2, 1. Okay. No. All right. So, the card is Warren Pilfers. It is a 3/3 Goblin Rogue. When it comes into play, return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. If it is a Goblin card, it gains haste until end of turn. Casual goblins.
No. I'm gonna give it another layer. Limited.
Maybe unlimited. Yeah, okay, that's fair. I can see
definitely.
Yeah, in a goblin tribal deck, I can definitely see this. It is a 5-drop. It's 4 and a black. Let it be known.
Yeah, outside of limited is really expensive for a 3/3 that just gets a guy back.
Yeah.
When you have although let's say this, Gravediggers is 4.
Well, yeah,
right?
but that's also not a great card. I don't think.
It is a limited all-star though.
It's a limited all-star. And I think this in a goblin tribal deck would be a very good inclusion. It would be at the top of the curve.
If you can get
that's the problem, right? Like it's a 5-drop.
Yeah, that's my one complaint is that this card's at 5. Other than that, it does stuff you want and it's got a pretty round body.
Yeah,
you know,
I mean a 3/3 in a goblin deck seems pretty fine, honestly. Pretty on the higher end of the power level for a goblin deck.
For goblins,
I would say.
Yeah, probably.
But it also, I mean, it gets you recursion.
It's no Mog Flunkies.
It's no Mog Flunkies. That's true.
It's better than Mog Flunkies.
It is better than Mog Flunkies. All right, well. Probably our best card of the day so far.
Which says a lot about
It
Resolves thus far. That we're babies.
Let it be known, we do actually pick these completely random.
Oh, yeah.
At completely random. Like, literally, we have a random Magic the Gathering card picker up, and we just refresh the page and see what we get.
Yeah. Hence the pause where we have to try to decide,
right,
is this
at all not terrible? So far the best one. I'm pretty good with that.
Yeah, I'll give it that.
Gold
star. Check plus for you, Warren Pilfers. Cool.
So what is on the schedule for today?
My man, with that out of the way, we're jumping right into our main topic. It's a Monday show, and if you've been paying attention, if you've been doing your homework, that means it's a deck tech.
Yes.
A deck tech.
And now when we say deck tech, let it be known, we're not going, we might, but it's not like we're going into every single card, how many of each card necessarily. We have it for the most part. Yeah. We'll say this, Will has it. I am not as prepared.
I brewed this myself.
Which means it's going to be super good. So what we did for this episode is, or for this deck tech, is we each just kind of picked some favorite decks that we've made before.
Yep.
Not necessarily in any particular format. Not necessarily good or bad. Just fun decks, right? Decks that we enjoyed playing or making, or something like that. So, Will, do you want to kick us off?
I will. I'll start it off with my exalted, exonerated, and beautiful deck. Little history about the deck. I've said it in the first show, I think. This is the first deck I ever made myself. It is a black-white exalted deck. Exalted had a resurgence in M13. Up until then, I played decks people made for me or pre-built. So this was the first one I made by myself, starting off in my Magic the Gathering experience. Okay. So it's not going to be particularly powerful, strong, right? It's Exalted, so you don't get many bombs in Exalted. You don't
No.
But it was super fun for me to sit down and think about why I wanted to include stuff and how many things and blah, 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 blah.
Sure.
You know, make a deck. And maybe it'll inspire you to, I don't know, pick something apart.
Yeah.
Okay, so going right into it. So this deck focuses mainly around creatures. Of course, it's Exalted. Through basically most enchantments, sorceries, any fun stuff like that out the window, because that wasn't the fastest way for this deck to win. It has a little bit of interaction, not a crazy amount, but enough that it was fast and I could kind of swing back just in case. So going right into it, the creatures are the biggest pool of cards. We run 4 Aven Squires, little 1/1s for 2 with Exalted, with flying. So
pretty good.
Yes, in this deck.
This good.
These
in this deck. In this good.
I'm gonna say in this deck, these creatures will seem underpowered.
But that's not the point, right?
No,
this is just for fun. That's what we're doing.
It's for fun and mainly to get the Exalted triggers, right? To get the Exalted sources, I'll say. So 4 Aven Squires, 4 Duty Bound Dead. These are 1-drops Exalted. They are 0/2 or 1/2. I can't remember right now, but they've also got Regenerate on them.
Okay.
And Exalted for 1. So it's okay. I have the next line as 6 Knights. Now, what I mean by that, there were cards printed in M13. They were like twin Knights, 1 white, 1 black. One was the Knight of Honor, Knight of Glory, that's it, Knight of Glory, and then Knight of Infamy. They were 2/2s for 2 with Exalted and Pro from their other colors.
Very cool.
Right? Yeah, I mean, they're fine. Then we have the big creature in the deck, Nephrox. He is a 5/5 flying demon with Exalted for 6 that says, anytime Nephrox attacks alone, target player sacrifices a creature.
Very cool.
Which is sweet.
Yeah.
Very sweet. Then we run 3 Disciples of Bolas. Now, these were very, very cool. Disciple of Bolas is a 2/1 for 3 that says, whenever it enters the battlefield, sacrifice target creature. You gain X life and draw X cards, where X is that creature's power. So, obviously, this works great in an Exalted deck, where you swing into combat, you gain all that Exalted power until end of turn. Maybe it's a 7/7, you'll say. Not unreasonable. Definitely not the top of the spike either. And then second main, you just drop Disciple, draw 7 cards, and pass. Seems okay.
Yeah.
You know?
Seems very okay.
Yeah. Not that. So then we also ran 2 Nighthawks. Those fluctuated based on the kinds of decks I was playing. If they were really creature heavy, they had a lot of flyers, things I just couldn't answer, I'd run more Nighthawks. Really just to chump and gain a little life and have just a little bit of flexibility in my creature pool.
Okay.
You know? Because Exalted's great, but Nighthawks are wonderful. Who doesn't love Nighthawk?
Your favorite card, right?
It is. That is my favorite card in all of Magic.
Very cool.
It's Value Town. Man.
It's a cool card.
What other
I
free
really
drop
like
has
Nighthawk.
3 lines, right? Flying, Death.
They just printed one.
Did they?
Flying, Vigilance, and Lifelink.
Yeah, but it's Vigilance.
I'm just telling you.
Yeah, but it's Vigilance.
No, Death Touch is better.
Anyway, next. And this is going to sound stupid. But this was my win con. This stupid card was my win con.
You're right, this is going to sound stupid.
It is. I'm going to say it anyway. How many of you have heard of Tormented Soul?
Ooh, I raised my hand.
Kevin?
Do you want me to tell you what it does?
Please.
All right. So for those of you who don't know, it costs 1 black.
Yes.
It is a 1/1 creature.
Mm-hmm.
Unblockable.
Yeah. And you can't block.
That's it. That's the card.
Why would that matter in an Exalted deck?
Why don't you tell me? Why don't you tell me, Will?
I'd love to. So, turn 1, Tormented Soul.
Okay, good start.
Turn 2, 2 Duty Bound Deads.
Yep.
Tormented Soul swings for 3.
All right.
Unblockable. That's an okay turn 2. Not
Yeah,
great.
sure.
Leave 2 blockers up. All right, that's cool.
Yeah.
Turn 3, you can put 2 more Exalted guys on the board. That's 5 damage unblockable. By turn 3, you've done 8 points of damage. By turn 4, if you have more Exalted guys,
Right.
and you will draw more Tormented Souls because of our Disciples Obolus. Disciples Eboli. That's your card draw engine.
We went there.
That's fine. That's where I live. So you're going to draw Tormented Souls.
Yeah.
So you can swing in for a stupid amount of damage, and then at second main you can drop another Tormented Soul and then Disciple of Bolus to replace the one you're going to sack for all your cards, and just refuel that way. So you can draw your answers like the Murders we run, like the Doomblades we run, Sign-In Bloods that we run, things like that. Mm-hmm. Right? But let's say you don't have Tormented Soul. You don't have your unblockable win engine. I also run Angelic Benediction. Mm-hmm. Right? So this is an enchantment that has Exalted. It's another Exalted source. Mm-hmm. It says whenever a creature you control attacks alone, you may tap target permanent and a player controls. Mm-hmm. And I think that's it. Yeah, it's not blue, so it untaps. Yes, but...
well, so it's just not good. No, I'm just kidding.
It is good if you do not have Tormented Soul.
Okay.
But that's really it. That and Nephrox, target player sacrifices a creature. I'm trying to think which would resolve first. I'm not sure which would. The sacrifice effect or the tap effect. That's not important.
It was your deck, man. That's
That's
all I'm
true.
saying.
I don't even know.
I mean, you really should know.
Yeah. But like I said, it runs Murder and Doomblades as well, just for creature removal to answer for things. Sign-In Bloods in case we don't have Bolas.
Okay.
So, draw 2, lose 2.
Yeah.
Seems alright. Yeah. So this deck, why is it special to me if it's so terrible? I'll tell you. It won a surprising amount of games for how bad it was, and that shocked me. Which gave me a little bit of encouragement, I'd say, to keep playing Magic more. And it's a very cheap deck to make, right? So as a casual deck, this might be a, I don't know, $20, $30 deck, maybe. That's not even popular, but it's fun. And like I said, it wins a surprising amount of games. Like,
Okay.
It's fast. If you don't have creature removal,
Yeah.
good night. If you can't answer a 1/1 unblockable guy, then
I mean,
that kind of sucks, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of sneaky, shifty. I didn't play it to make friends, so
So were you? What was maybe the bane of that deck's existence? What outclassed it?
Yeah. So here's the thing: if a deck ran creature removal and it could answer to the souls,
Yeah.
I have no way to get them back
Right.
if they die. So that's my best in source, just gone.
Right.
It also just isn't as good against people who can make chump blockers.
Right.
Right? Hence the need for Tormented Soul and Aven Squire with flying and unblockable. But if the souls are gone and they can block an Aven Squire, or if they have like Turbo Fog or something, like I'm putting all my eggs in one basket and saying, this guy's attacking, do something about it.
Okay.
And if they could do something, it just kind of ended.
Right.
This deck also flooded relatively easy.
Yeah.
I played 20 lands, I think. 20 lands, 40 cards. Which seemed to work most of the time.
Sure.
But you're going to gas out quickly, because another great feature about this deck is the top end is Nephrox, and he's 6.
Yeah.
But everything else you can cast for 2.
Which seems awesome.
Yeah. Well, I should say every other creature.
Yeah.
Right, because Sun and Blood and Benediction are. But every creature, everything that's going to get you exalted is 2.
So super cheap. Very, very low
cheap.
curve.
You flood the board with exalted sources and swing in for a bunch. And that's it. That's all it is.
Yeah.
It's super simple. I didn't have to think about it too hard, but once I kind of got my wheels turning, realized I might have something here. It was fun. It was lots of fun.
Well, good.
Yeah. I'm not saying that it would do well outside of like my F&M that I played it at.
Yeah.
Or, really there. But yeah, it was loads of fun. So yeah, Kevin?
Okay.
What you got for me? What's your favorite deck you've ever made or played? Or
Well, okay, so
what have you?
Will, as you know, this has been a tough decision for me.
Yeah,
I've made quite a few decks in my day.
you could say that.
Not a lot of them were super good. Some of them were very good, and some of them were okay.
You made Griffin Tribal?
No. Never that bad.
What are you implying?
I have to say, when I felt I was onto something, the first deck that I was making at the time was a blue-black mill deck.
Yeah.
Which is a fairly commonplace for some people to start off at, I would say. Not everybody, but a lot of people do start there because it sort of has that draw of being an alternate win condition.
Yeah.
Which is just cool. You think you're clever when you play mill, right? Like, because you're like, well, you don't have cards.
Think you're
I
special.
just win.
Think you're special with your dang chase.
Yes. So, that being said, I don't have the exact list because it changed so many times.
Yeah.
I'm going to do my best to sort of reiterate some of the main cards in the first few iterations.
Sure.
I know my one drop was Tome Scour, which if you don't know is just a sorcery that mills 5, and that's it. I mean...
But where to go wrong with that? Like.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's exactly what I wanted to do. It was a cheap card. I had a bunch of them, so I used it. I did have a couple 3-drops that were really good.
Okay.
I also ran Nighthawk. Vampire Nighthawk is just a great card.
If you're playing casual, you're in black, just throw
a few Nighthawks in. You'll be fine. I mean, clearly it's maybe not at its best in a mill deck, but it's a good card, right? Like it holds off threats. Right. It also gains you a bit of life back if you need it to. It does a lot of things, and so I ran it. I also pulled 4 guard Gomazoas, which if you don't know is a 1/3 flyer with Defender. And it says prevent all combat damage dealt to it.
Yeah, it's very frustrating.
It is a bit frustrating. If you don't have creature removal, you just sort of block for days, right? Which was the goal. And I will say this deck has a little bit of a special place in my heart because I played it against a very good friend of mine. We're going to do a little call out to a friend of mine, Tyler.
Hey, buddy.
Who I grew up with. We played a lot together. How's Alaska? We grew up together playing Magic. We each sort of built our deck to fight the other person's deck.
That is metagaming at its finest.
It was great.
When you play it for one person.
Yeah, well, exactly. Like, he played a mostly green deck, but he splashed a bit of blue.
Sure.
And it was sort of just your green-blue ramp deck. But he played things that would, like, reset the graveyards and put them back into your deck, and then...
Genius.
You know, and... Because I stalled so much with Nighthawks and things like that, the games would go excessively long. I'm talking hours with just standard constructed decks. Like, not even like, this wasn't Commander, this wasn't anything crazy. It was just, we had 60 card decks that were just casual fun decks.
That's crazy.
And they went, I remember one game in specific went for almost 3 hours. It was great. It was really, really fun. We had a lot of fun playing those decks against each other. We both... I think won a fairly even amount of time.
Okay.
That being said, once I started putting a little more money into the game, it made it a little bit tougher. But I ended up getting cards like Consuming Aberration for my top end.
Which is, if you know, like an okay card.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine. Right. It is a 5-drop, 3, 1 black, 1 blue for an XX creature. That basically says its power and toughness are equal to the number of cards in all graveyards.
All graveyards.
And whenever you play a spell, you have to mill your opponent until they mill a land. Which...
Seems okay.
Seems pretty good in a mill deck, right? Like, that's what you want. So, it was very fun. It was a pretty cool game that we got to play with each other because we sort of went back and forth just endlessly, really. It was really funny. But... there were iterations where I played a more controlling route, played things like Mana Leak and things like that. There were other ones where I switched out the Mana Leaks for Mind Sculpt, things that just milled more.
Sure.
I also used Breaking and Entering, which mills 8. That was a good 2-drop. Mind Funeral, which mills until you mill 4 land. Really, really cool cards. And
mean.
Just very brutal cards, really. But it always felt so good when I got to win via the mill.
Yes.
Like, there were games where I just powered out with Consuming Aberration and you just win. But when it did what it was really supposed to do and just mill the opponent, that's the fun thing, right?
Totally.
Because, again, as a newbie at the time, I was like, okay, I'm winning, but not by the normal way, you know? And so it just felt so cool. And I loved it. I really did. That was, again, probably my first somewhat okay deck. It wasn't. I will say it was just somewhat okay, but it was a lot of fun. A very cool deck.
It was as good as Milk. Well, I'm not gonna say as good as Milk could be, but
Right. I mean, it was decent.
Yeah.
And it did have some removal things, like at the time I had Doom Blades and things like that for, I know my friend Tyler played things like Primeval Titan. He played Goltree because it was like super good against my deck. A free 10/10 seems great. So,
I wouldn't shake that.
Yeah. So we had a lot of fun though. I would definitely say that's probably the deck that's closest to my heart.
Okay. I like that.
And it definitely lost to just being outraced. Like, if I just got overpowered and didn't draw a Consuming Aberration, I'd just lose.
I think we've played against each other. I don't know about those two decks against each other.
I don't think so, but it was a lot of fun. Yeah. Very cool. So
I've still got mine. I know. It's in a shoebox somewhere.
I do not have mine, but I could remake it. It'd be fun.
Yeah.
I believe I've got all the cards I need to make it. So maybe that'll be a thing. Maybe we'll do a match and see who comes out on top. That'd be pretty fun.
I would be willing to.
That'd be pretty fun.
To beat your face in.
Yeah. We'll see about that.
I don't need much.
So yeah, I guess out of all the decks, I think those would probably be both of our, I guess, favorites.
Yeah, definitely not the strongest decks we've played. Not the strongest decks we've made.
Not even close.
No, God no. We've played some really good ones. Jeskai Ascendancy.
Which is a fun one.
Classic Jund. Super
Storm.
Fun. Yeah.
Splinter Twin.
Show and tell stuff. Like all the greats.
Well, so we've mentioned this before. We both I have a cube that I've made, and we've cubed a few times with it.
Yeah.
And I know my first iteration, I had a proxy like Time Vault or something like that. That we ran in the cube, along with cards like Rails Eric, which untap it and let you take infinite turns. There was also like a winner or block deck, which I believe is still in. There's a lot of cool like specific decks that you can do. Reanimator's always great.
Yeah, that's always fun.
Reanimating a Gristlebrand turn 2 seems pretty good.
It just feels like
excellent. And of course, any deck that runs Nicol Bolas is just good.
Yes. All right.
It is. Did you not know that?
I didn't know that.
I mean,
I was unaware.
No, if you play Nicol Bolas, you have a small victory.
Oh well, yes. In the cube, you instantly you get a check plus.
Yeah. Doesn't matter if you win the game at that point. You played Nicol Bolas. You made the end game.
Yes,
you're fine.
That is our cube rule.
Yeah, that is the cube rule.
Nikki B, you get to win a little
Nikki B. But yeah, so cube, honestly, with cubes, I think you really get some cool decks out of it.
Yeah.
It's fun to see what people make out of them.
Definitely.
I think. And I think that's where, if I was to pick just favorite decks, sort of in general, not necessarily nostalgic decks, I would say the decks that we come up with in cube are just so fun.
They are. I mean, and the cube is so versatile that you get to do a bunch of fun things. It's singleton, so you're not going to get recurring cards, obviously.
Right.
So you really have to kind of figure out how cards will interact.
Right.
And what's strong against what. It's just neat. Drafting any sealed or limited sort of thing really flexes your deck building muscles.
I would definitely agree with that.
Yeah. Especially if everything is as powered as, rare and mythic.
And I think
cube.
When you do get, especially in cube, but really in any draft format, it actually might be easier in cube sometimes to define what is the right pick. And this wasn't planned to talk about, but I just think it's important that when you're in cube, because everything is a high power level, sometimes
distracted.
Yeah, it's easy to get distracted, right? Like, I know the first time we drafted, I opened Nicol Bolas and I was like, well, I mean, clearly, but then at the same time there was like Force of Will in the pack, and all these other good cards that are like 10 times more lucrative. And so
10 is maybe the small end of that. Yeah. Force of Will or Nicol Bolas?
Nah, Nicol Bolas. So
I'll gladly trade up.
So it's sometimes tough, and I think in like a standard environment, like we've been talking about Amonkhet drafts, because that's what we've been focusing on. It's not always easy to pick that most powerful card, because sometimes because you've drafted a deck before. I know I got caught up in the trap. We drafted that mono red deck last week, and it was a lot of fun. It was a very good deck. We won our 7 games with it, and it was really fun. And so I sort of became partial to red in the next draft. Yes. I was like, well, maybe we should pick the red cards. And it's like, well, but that's not necessarily how it goes, right? Like, you just have to pick the powerful cards that are passed to you and do your best you can to sort of move your way through that.
Yeah, if there is a clear cut, this is the strongest card in the pack, it's not always just a bad idea to take it.
Yeah.
For a few reasons. I mean, if it's early in the draft especially, you can always simply switch colors.
Yeah. And I think you bring up a good point. I think a lot of people are very afraid to switch colors.
And at a point, you shouldn't.
No, right? Absolutely. When you're, mid to late in the draft, you probably should just stick with what you've got.
If you're opening your third pack,
stay in your colors. Yeah, at that point, really by like midway through pack 1 is where you should hope to have a direction.
I think you can kind of get away with it at that point.
Yeah.
Like if you have a few cyclers, if you have a few aggro guys, but you might have a blue something. You might have gotten maybe you first picked the Naga that taps for 2 mana.
Sure.
Right? Then the next pack you open, it's got the rare that gets you extra mana each turn.
Yeah.
Right? So that's ramp instantly right there. You got a pretty good shell.
Absolutely.
I mean, I don't know.
And you shouldn't always be too afraid to splash colors in the right format with the right mana base, because
it's hard, but
limited is very difficult, but it is doable if you get the dual lands. Especially in Amonkhet, Evolving Wilds is a pretty easy pickup usually. A lot of people will take it, but if you see it, it's not a bad thing to pick up if you're in 2 to 3 colors. Generally, I think in this format, 2 colors is really where you want to be.
Yeah, 2 colors gets you a good pool, a lot of good options.
Absolutely.
We're talking about drafting.
We are. We sort of segued into drafting, and we did not even mean to. This is unplanned completely, but it's not a bad conversation.
Well, Kevin, no conversation with you is bad.
Oh, God.
Except for all of them.
Oh.
I couldn't make it too camp.
All right, well, this is the last episode. No, I'm just kidding. No, but we sort of got off topic. But I do think some important things to note about drafting.
Yeah, totally. It's kind of addictive once you start. You just
want
to talk about it. You want to get to doing it.
We've been drafting like all week.
We have, honestly, for like 3 days.
Yeah, so it's been pretty fun.
Definitely.
But I think
cool.
Kind of wraps things up, I guess.
All right. Well,
we do have our Crack-a-Pack.
Yeah, Exalted beats Mill every time. So, what'd you open in your pack?
Okay. We'll have a game and debate on that.
We're gonna go right into Crack-a-Pack.
So, as per the last few episodes, I've been looking for an Aven Mind Sensor.
Yep.
So far, no good, but I'm hoping.
One of these days.
One of these days it'll happen. I've already got my first one, so you've got some catching up to do. But
stop it.
Let's open this pack.
Okay.
It's already open. We'll see what we get. All right. I did not make mine.
No. Oh, they're both Aftermath
We
cards.
both got Aftermath cards. Okay,
Twins.
so I got Commit to Memory.
Okay.
Commit is 3 and a blue for an instant. Put target spell or non-land permanent into its owner's library, second from the top. Mm-hmm. Okay? Then you can use the memory side with its Aftermath. 4 and 2 blue. Each player shuffles his or her hand and graveyard into his or her library, then draws 7 cards. Not overly excited, right? Like
No. My gut instinct is like, to me, honestly, Commit might be. I don't want to say the stronger of the two, because you get your stuff back, but then so do they.
Right.
Like, this to me just seems like, oh, it's a blue card. What should it do? Shuffle things and then maybe put stuff somewhere.
Well, and it's just it's really expensive, right? Like, to put a card down second from the top in their library for 4 is whatever. I mean, that's a little expensive, I think.
For 4, yes, but like late game, let's say you've been stalling for a while, but then their Ketra hits the board, like we talked about in the draft episode. You committed away, and you have 2 turns that's free of that.
That's fair. I mean, maybe you can get some damage in. Yeah. Maybe if you're like at that lethal, point of close to lethal, maybe this is the card that gets you there. Mm-hmm. But I feel like it's fairly situational, so I don't.
Oh, absolutely.
Not a favorite for me.
No, I think that's probably sideboard at best. Maybe.
Maybe. I don't even know about that.
That's a strong maybe.
Yeah.
For the record.
All right, what'd you get?
It is.
What are you looking for?
Neheb.
Still Neheb. This whole time.
Listen,
we're 5 episodes in, and you still haven't found a Neheb.
I'm gonna fight you with my exalted creatures.
You're not gonna fight me with your Neheb that you don't have.
Well, that's very fair. What if I cut you to ribbons?
Oh, is that your card?
It is, Kevin.
Whoa! Good segue.
This is also one I think we've drawn before. Cut
I believe
says
so.
It is an Aftermath card. It is cut for 1 red, 1 colorless. Cut deals 4 damage to target creature. That's good for 2.
Yeah, seems pretty good. I mean, it's sorcery speed, but in standard, that's fine.
I mean, yeah,
I like
it. Not bad. Ribbons is 2 black, X colorless. It says each opponent loses X life. Now, okay, I first didn't like this card as much.
I kind of like it.
The more I think about it, yeah.
I mean, first of all, it's a removal spell. You know,
Yeah.
you get a bomb off the field that,
Yes.
you know, if something good off the field, you can deal up to 4 damage. That's pretty good for 2 mana, especially.
Yes,
and then
not
if they're
bad.
close to death, you just sort of drain them.
What
like,
if they
seems pretty
forgot I
good.
have ribbons in my graveyard and they tapped out for
if
something?
you forgot. That's easy to do.
You know?
Yeah.
And I don't know, they got 6 life left. I'm really close. I might just cast a sorcery from my graveyard.
I mean,
It seems like a fine way to win.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll always get you there, but it's... I was going to say, again, at first I didn't love it, but I think it gets...
I think it's pretty good in like
Yeah.
a Grixis shell, right? Like if you're in a
so.
control shell or something like that, this seems kind of great.
I mean, that does... One main thing that Grixis wants to do, right, is just remove guys.
Well, yeah,
burn 'em off the
absolutely.
board,
You burn them off the
obviously.
board, and then you get to just hit for a bunch. Like,
That seems fun.
I'm pretty happy with that.
Yeah.
I think it's a good card.
I think it'd be even better if Aftermath was X creature or player, you know?
Probably. I think you're right, but I do, just to give it some more flexibility. But I do think that, like, you know, you in the early game maybe you cut something down, and then in the late game, if you just don't have anything in your hand,
Yeah.
fire off a ribbons. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
get some damage in, or get that lethal kill, whatever comes
Now,
first.
consider this.
Okay.
Ribbons,
Hmm.
and then that other Aftermath card that doubles damage.
Oh, insult to injury, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great.
That'd be pretty good.
Um,
Injury's expensive, but if you can pull it off...
It is, yeah. That seems pretty good. Although I think insult to injury does a little bit better in sort of an aggro shell.
I'd definitely rather have insult and injury.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's just a great card.
Yeah, it's fun.
Super good. I underrated it originally, but I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, it gets you in.
It wins games in limited just out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Which is really annoying. Something we talked about in the last video.
Yeah,
that
we may have lost a
there are
game to-
free wins everywhere in Amonkhet. And that's one of them. So, all right. Well,
Yeah.
that wraps up our Deck Tech Monday episode.
Our very first one.
It was fun.
Yeah, we might...
Got a little off topic there, but
That's okay.
it happens.
You know, that's okay. We're rambling. But we will talk about more fun decks
Absolutely.
later in weeks to come.
And we do invite you guys. We'd love to hear what decks you guys love to build, or what you guys have played in the past. What's your favorite deck?
Any format is welcome.
And it can be casual. You can just say, "Oh, I just love this card, so I build a deck around it." That's fine. That's basically what we do all the time. So,
Fair.
I mean, that's great. That we want to hear that kind of stuff. We think it's great to hear from you guys and maybe talk about some of the stuff that you guys want to hear. So let us know, and we'll make that happen.
And if you hate your deck, our deck, if you hate our decks, ouch.
They
No,
were not
you can-
good.
you can tell us, too.
It's totally fine. If you're like, "Hey, that deck's terrible,"
We're open
that's
to
cool.
it.
Any comment is a good comment. I'm just saying, I want to hear what they have to say,
That's fair, Kevin.
even if it's terrible.
Okay.
All right, guys. Well, that is going to wrap up our Monday episode. This has been It Resolves. I'm Kevin,
I'm Will.
and we will see you guys next time.
Goodbye. Bye. Bye.